Is there an emotional connection when it comes to back pain? This is a bit of an unusual topic, but I have to share what I know about this topic with you. I've only had back pain 3 times in my life. Back in the spring of 2014, about 2 months after my mom passed away. And last spring, I had back pain for 2 weeks. And right now, April 2021, I've been going into my 2nd week of back pain. When my mom passed away, I had lower back pain for about 3-4 days. And that was it. So here's the thing. Here's what I figured out. And I believe this to be true in large part. When I was in the back pain situation back in 2014, I had remembered a particular Oprah episode, which is kind of unusual because I never watched TV, but this is going back to early 90s, late 80s or whenever. It was a long time ago. I always remembered the once or twice I've watched a little bit of Oprah. This was one of those episodes, and it captivated me. Oprah had on as a guest John Sarno, who was a New York-based doctor who treated back pain. And he claimed to use psychology, psychiatric approaches, and he claimed that all back pain was a result of emotional tension. And Oprah challenged him to help her producer, who literally couldn't walk. She got her on one of those scooters, and I think took about 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever, and Oprah had him back on. And that's the show that I saw. And it blew me away. I couldn't believe it. They were talking about this, and they were talking about the challenge that Oprah put on him, and he went through his basic theory and how he treated people with back pain. And then they opened up the curtains, and out came her producer, literally running in the air and jumping on the stage. And they had shown her from 2 months prior not being able to walk. She was on a scooter. So it was amazing. I was like, wow, there's a connection here. There's something. Anyways, so fast forward to 2014, I'm going through this situation, and I'm like, who was that doctor? Who was that doctor? So I went and Googled it, and I found it was John Sarno. I went on Amazon, and I ordered his book. And his book is called Mind-Body Connection. Or the Mind-Body Prescription, Healing the Body, Healing the Pain. He's got a bunch of books out. I think they're all pretty much the same, dealing with the same topic. So last spring, because of COVID, after 3 months of lockdown, it was very stressful for me. I just really had a hard time dealing with it and not being able to open my business. And I got really bad back pain, much worse than when my mom had passed away. So I did as best I could the work, which I'm going to give you some of the ideas in a minute, the work that was prescribed and is prescribed by John Sarno. And after about 2 weeks, it dissipated, and I was fine for the whole year. I know I don't have any physical ailments insofar as like arthritis or damaged bones, which a lot of people would immediately go to. So I would highly encourage you, even if you did, to consider using this as an add-on strategy to help heal, because to strictly go into painkillers or to use pharmaceuticals to treat this when there might be something that you can add to it that might really resolve the issue for you. Something worth considering. Again, it's John Sarno. He's got another book called Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Connection. So it's all pretty much the same thing. He goes through the same strategies. I'm going to give you a summary of what he prescribes, and then I'm going to leave it up to you. So here's what he says. Set aside 15 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening to review the following materials. So he says this. He says, make a list of everything that may contribute to these feelings. Write an essay about each item on your list. The longer the better. So he's talking about things that may be affecting you emotionally. This forces you to focus on the important emotions in your life. There are a number of possible sources for these feelings. He says, anger, hurt, emotional pain, sadness generated during your childhood or throughout your life. Physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, including not receiving enough emotional support, warmth, or love, exercise, excessive discipline, or unreasonable expectations. Certain personality traits can contribute to emotional pain. If you expect a great deal of yourself, obviously. If you drive yourself to be perfect, to achieve, to succeed, if you are your own harshest critic, if you have a strong need to please people, to want them to like you, or if you tend to be very helpful to everyone and anyone, also known as a people pleaser. I've had friends tell me that the biggest problem in society is codependence. I think there's a big connection to what I just described. Anyways, back to his list. I'm almost done, by the way. You should put on your list anything in your life that represents pressure or responsibility, your job, your spouse, if you are married, your children, if you are a parent, your parents, if they are living, and of course, any major problems in your life. Add to this list those situations in which you become consciously angry. Well, for me, it was a lockdown, and annoyed, but cannot express it, whatever the reason may be. You must sit down and think about these things every day in order to bring your ideas from your unconscious mind into your conscious mind. That's where they have to get in order for the brain to stop the protective mechanism and for the symptoms to disappear. So whether or not you believe it or not, I think it's worth considering. I know a lot of people I talk to at some level or other believe that there's absolutely something to this. And I remember also, to add to this, years ago watching a documentary on YouTube. I believe it was called The Placebo Effect. And it was really cool because they had actual scientific double-blind studies that they had done. And it was just mind-blowing. You'd have to go and see if you can find it. But it was either called The Placebo Effect or something similar. So came out about 15, 16 years ago. So yeah, I think if I were to sort of express what he's getting at. Now, I've always believed that there's something to expressing. You're expressing, which somehow has a feeling of sort of effect. Years ago, I read the book Healing the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw. And that was a powerful book. That was in my early days of recovery. And he said in there, one of the most effective strategies is to get into a non-judgmental group therapy situation where you share. And that's what all 12-step meetings are like. It's one of the most powerful things that anybody could do. And I believe at its very core, at its very root, whether it's AA, NA, Overeaters Anonymous, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're doing pretty much the same thing that John Sarno was talking about. And through vocabulary, through words, through expressing yourself and communicating, whether you're writing or talking, it's how you release and open up the pathways to healing. Does that make any sense? I hope so. If not, I highly encourage you to consider it. So I believe there's a connection to what John Sarno is theorizing. He's got a long list of celebrities and everyday people who have and will testify to the healing experiences that they've had by going to visit him. So, but we can all benefit by using the same strategies. I just described them to you. I highly recommend you get the book. Check it out if you're in any kind of physical pain, including and especially back pain. So, all right. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. Bye for now.